It is slow. It is loud. It is propeller-driven. And it is the most feared aircraft America has ever put over a battlefield. Enemy commanders have ordered full retreats just from hearing it overhead. This is the AC-130 Ghost Rider, and once you understand what it actually does, the fear makes complete sense. The problem with every other attack aircraft: every fast jet in military service shares the same fundamental limitation. It arrives, it fires, it leaves. An F-18 spends 20 to 30 minutes over a target before it has to return to the carrier to refuel. An F-35 makes its pass and disappears. The window of direct fire support is measured in minutes, and then the sky is empty again. The AC-130 does not work this way. It arrives over a target and stays, entering a continuous banking orbit called a pylon turn that keeps its weapons permanently pointed at whatever is below. It can maintain that orbit for hours, with aerial refueling theoretically until the crew runs out of endurance or the ammunition runs out. The battlefield below does not get a break. The pressure does not pause while the aircraft goes home to rearm. The AC-130 simply keeps circling and keeps firing. This single characteristic sustained presence is what separates it from every other weapons platform in the sky. Fighter jets carry more speed and more stealth. Drones carry more patience but far less firepower. The AC-130 sits in the gap between them and delivers something neither can: a heavily armed aircraft that refuses to leave. Where it came from, a cargo plane turned into a killing machine. Vietnam created the need. Enemy forces were moving troops and supplies along the Ho Chi Minh Trail at night beneath dense jungle canopy that made them almost invisible from above. Fighter jets could not orbit long enough to be useful. Something had to stay and hunt. Engineers took a C-130 Hercules, a cargo transport with no combat history, and cut holes in its fuselage. 4 miniguns and 4 20mm Vulcan cannons went in along the left side. A night vision telescope was fitted to the forward door. RAF Wing Commander Tom Pinkerton hand-built an analog fire control computer that calculated firing solutions as the aircraft circled. The prototype landed in Vietnam on September 21, 1967, and went to work over the Ho Chi Minh Trail almost immediately. The cost comparison that emerged from the first operational data is still striking. Destroying a supply truck using an AC-130 cost $5,100. The same result using an F-105 fighter jet cost $118,000 per truck. During a single dry season, 12 AC-130s destroyed 47,000 tons of enemy supplies. In individual missions crews accounted for 25 vehicles in a single sortie. 4 aircraft were shot down in 1972, which tells you how seriously the North Vietnamese took the threat, since dedicated anti-aircraft resources were redirected specifically to eliminate these slow-moving propeller planes. The machine was that dangerous. What is actually on this aircraft? Nearly every inch of the AC-130's 100-foot fuselage carries some form of weapons system. The current AC-130J Ghost Rider configuration includes a 30mm Gao 23 Bushmaster cannon for precision engagement of vehicles and personnel, a 105mm M102 howitzer, the same artillery piece deployed by ground forces, fires 43-pound shells from altitude. Each shot pushes the 80,000-pound aircraft 6 feet sideways through the air. The shells impact exactly where intended 10,000 feet below. This should not work as cleanly as it does. Wing pylons carry up to 8 Jibu 39 small-diameter bombs or AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. 10 common launch tubes fire Jibu 69B small glide munitions or Griffin missiles. The weapon's loadout changes depending on the mission. Supporting infantry in close contact requires different configurations than interdicting vehicles or striking fixed installations. Specialized weapons load crews handle every element of this preparation, managing shells that measure roughly 2 feet long and weigh approximately 100 pounds each, securing everything in specialized racks designed to prevent movement under the stresses of operational flight. The sensor suite that directs all of this is as significant as the weapons themselves. Electro-optical cameras identify objects at distances approaching 10 miles in daylight. Infrared sensors detect heat signatures through darkness and smoke. All-weather radar penetrates cloud cover. The combination allows the crew to find, identify, and engage targets in conditions where ground forces cannot see beyond the next tree line. The crew, 8 people operating a flying artillery platform. Operating the AC-130 at full combat effectiveness requires 8 crew members working in precise coordination under high-pressure conditions. 2 pilots maintain exact altitude and banking angle throughout the pylon turn. The orbit has to remain geometrically consistent for the weapon systems to maintain accurate firing solutions. 2 combat systems officers in the cockpit manage weapons targeting, directing guns, cannons and missiles while coordinating with the crews stationed in the rear of the aircraft. A sensor operator manages the surveillance and targeting systems, feeding real-time data on target position and movement to the weapons operators. A loadmaster handles logistics and cargo. 3 gunners operate the weapons directly. The howitzer in particular requires manual operation by dedicated crew members who must manage the physical demands of loading and firing a full artillery piece inside a moving aircraft. The pre-flight process reflects the complexity of the system. Crews power up onboard computers and run diagnostics across navigation, communications, and weapons control simultaneously while ground crews refuel and perform structural checks. Electronic countermeasures are tested. Every sensor is evaluated before engines start. Nothing about the preparation is casual, because at low altitude over a combat zone, a system's failure has immediate and catastrophic consequences. Live fire training is continuous, not optional, because the aiming coordination between cockpit and rear of aircraft degrades without regular practice, and in combat degraded coordination means rounds landing in the wrong place. Combat record: what it has actually done since Vietnam. The AC-130's operational history across 5 decades provides the most direct measure of what the platform delivers. In Afghanistan and Iraq, it became the defining close air support weapon of the war on terror. Infantry units in contact with enemy forces requested it by name. When the situation on the ground was desperate, surrounded, pinned down, outnumbered, hearing 4 turboprop engines arrive overhead changed the psychological and tactical situation immediately. The AC-130 could deliver fire within meters of friendly positions with a level of accuracy and sustained duration that nothing else in the sky could match. In 2015, AC-130s struck over 100 ISIS-operated oil tanker trucks in Syria in a coordinated campaign that directly cut the organization's primary revenue stream. In 2023, an AC-130J struck Iranian-backed militia positions in Iraq following an attack on Al-Assad Air Base. Neither mission could have been executed with equivalent effectiveness by carrier-based jets or land-based fighters. Both required the sustained presence, target discrimination, and weapons diversity that only the gunship delivers. The 105mm howitzer that has been on the aircraft since Vietnam has survived every upgrade cycle. When planners have suggested replacing it with smaller caliber precision weapons, the argument against removal is consistent. The psychological impact of a howitzer firing from a continuous orbit over a battlefield has an effect on enemy behavior that cannot be replicated by different weapons, regardless of their accuracy. Lieutenant General Michael Conley confirmed in 2025 it will stay. 3 upgrades that extend its reach into the next decade. 3 systems confirmed in 2025 fundamentally change what the Ghost Rider can do and where it can operate. The Black Arrow small cruise missile completed successful launch tests from AC-130Js in 2025. Weighing approximately 200 pounds with a range of roughly 200 miles, it allows the gunship to strike targets from well outside most air defense envelopes. A single AC-130J armed with Black Arrow missiles can engage any target within a strike circle larger than the entire state of New Mexico, without ever entering the threat zone of the systems defending it. The AN/APG-83 Scalable Agile Beam Radar is being fitted to 30 AC-130Js following a Special Operations Command announcement in August 2025. Its capabilities include high-resolution synthetic aperture radar imagery for all-weather targeting, ground-moving target indicator tracking that monitors vehicles in real time regardless of visibility conditions, and significantly improved resistance to electronic jamming, addressing one of the primary vulnerabilities of operating in a contested electromagnetic environment. The AGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missile integration is the most strategically significant addition. Each Harpoon is nearly 13 feet long, weighs over 1,500 pounds, and flies at low altitude toward its target. An AC-130 armed with harpoons can patrol vast ocean areas using its superior sensor suite to hunt and identify enemy vessels, then engage from standoff range before the target can respond. This capability was built specifically for the Pacific strategic environment, where maritime interdiction over large ocean areas is the defining operational requirement of potential future conflict. How it fits into a carrier strike group. The relationship between the AC-130 and carrier-based aviation has become increasingly central to how the US military plans complex operations. F-35Cs and F-18 Super Hornets launched from carriers excel at speed, stealth, and initial precision strikes. What they cannot do is stay. A Super Hornet spends 20 to 30 minutes on station. The AC-130 orbits for hours, providing what carrier aviation physically cannot: persistent armed overwatch over ground operations, special operations raids, and search and rescue missions where a pilot has ejected over hostile territory. The division of roles is straightforward in practice. Carrier-based E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft provide the AC-130 with real-time intelligence on threats and target locations. F-35s with their advanced sensor packages identify enemy positions and relay coordinates to the gunship. The AC-130 then applies sustained fire at the target for the duration of the operation without cycling back to base. Each platform doing what it was built for, the carrier air wing providing speed and stealth, the gunship providing the one thing jets cannot deliver. In recent exercises, AC-130Js practiced maritime interdiction alongside naval forces, using their sensor suites to detect small, fast-attack craft that ship-based radar struggled to identify, and using precision weapons to disable rather than destroy targets, preserving them for intelligence collection rather than simply eliminating the threat. Closing. A propeller aircraft from 1967 that is still being upgraded in 2025 with cruise missiles, advanced radar, and anti-ship weapons. 56 years of continuous development. A combat record across Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. And a howitzer that has survived every attempt to remove it, because nothing replaces what it does to an enemy's will to fight. Drop a comment telling us what you think makes it most irreplaceable. Check the end screen for more military technology breakdowns sitting there waiting.